Greetings. This is the Conscious Hour, and it's the 19th of November, and I'm going to talk about the United Healthcare Company. It's a very interesting company. Imagine this. Imagine all the retirees that are out there in America. And they've paid in, for their benefits when they retire and paid into the Social Security program. And then when you retire, you have health care. Well, I experienced United Healthcare firsthand. I had it a few years ago, but I never get sick, so I really never use it. But when I went to try to find a doctor, this is in Washington State, I couldn't find a doctor. I looked and looked and looked. I had 3 assigned to me. All of them had basically quit. Either quit working, one did, left the practice. One was not taking any more patients, and another one wasn't doing anything with United Healthcare. They didn't say that, but they implied it. There was just too many problems with the system. Well, then, eventually, the system changed, and I went to another company, and they actually have doctors, which I find shocking. But what I found very interesting was this: the cost of everything when it comes to what the pharmaceutical companies are charging. Not that I take any pharmaceuticals, but I track these things, and what it costs to get what a doctor's visit they would charge. It's outrageous. I mean, it's shocking how much they get paid. But then you learn about what United Healthcare was doing inside, and they were running their system by AI. That AI was going to go ahead and decide, well, should they get a benefit or not? Talking about taking out humanity, the humanity in working with a person one-on-one. It says, oh my God, you can't find a doctor, let's help you. Or, oh, you have this problem and we'll work on it. No, you call in and you talk to somebody who's overseas, which is no big deal. Everything's overseas now because they don't want to pay anybody a livable wage in the United States. So they ship off their phone centers and service centers to people around the world. Anyway, so now you get to hear firsthand from the reporter that broke the story in the New York Times, and this all goes back to the assassination of the head of United Healthcare. This is Abby Martin, and here we go.
These billionaire-owned outlets, they don't center the interests of the working class. They center the interests of their readers, who are primarily, upper class, upper middle class executives or aspiring executives. And that's who they speak to. And they sort of exist to prop up corporate power. So you're not hearing, tearful stories from people that have lost loved ones because of the actions of people like Brian Thompson. You're just hearing other CEOs and crisis comms people out there, boosting their narratives.
Let's talk a little bit about United Healthcare and how just bad it is. I mean, especially compared to its competitors in this kind of ruthless for-profit healthcare system that we live in. I mean, talk about how their model works.
These companies exist to ration care and to deny care. And United is the worst of all of them. They deny significantly more, double the industry average of claims. But essentially, if you run this healthcare system is a for-profit enterprise, and you have people paying in every single month, theoretically to get care, it's in these companies' best interest to provide as little care as possible, again, to maximize their profits. Ultimately, their goal is to increase value for shareholders, not to facilitate a healthy and happy consumer base. So, United is just among the worst because they are sort of the most ruthless about this. They deployed these AI systems that sort of deny claims en masse. There was one AI that was, I think, denying 90% of claims that the executives knew was flawed, and they continue to roll it out. And when you deny claims, you deny people life-saving healthcare.
Exactly. I mean, and it's just so sinister, this AI system that Brian Thompson actually personally implemented. I mean, the 90% error rate, that's astounding. And to knowingly deploy the system with a 90% error rate, and then just another kind of level of unaccountability, right? Another way to just kind of wash your hands of responsibility by being like, oh, well, it's not me deciding whether someone lives or dies. It's the AI. And so it's on that. I mean, it's
like being like,
so
it's
disgusting.
not me that decided someone should die. It's the gun that I was using. Like, the AI is not a sentient thing. It's a system, and you're using it to deploy death and suffering.
The person who's like overseeing a lot of AI right now, when you look at the AI systems killing Palestinians en masse in Gaza, Peter Thiel, who's another big winner of the Trump victory, he was recently asked, I think it was on Piers Morgan, about what he thought of the outpouring of support for Luigi Mangione, and his response was startling. I mean, he literally was speechless.
And to those who think this shooter is a hero, because he did it because he said this healthcare executive is presiding over a healthcare system which kills thousands of Americans by denying them cover. What would you say to them?
I don't think that I don't think one should ever.
I don't know.
And man, it probably just.
The ruling class is terrified. They don't want the gallows to come on their doorstep next.
Yeah, they're definitely aware, and I think that's why you see them cracking down, and that's why you see them going out in the media and pushing this, like, you know, sort of pearl-clutching narrative, like, oh, guys, like, you know, you can't just say that you hate CEOs. Like, I was on TV the other day, and the woman's just like, you know, you can't just say, you know, people, it's okay for people to hate CEOs. It's like, why?
Well, especially this guy. It's like the for-profit healthcare industry is like right, one of the most evil.
We're not hating CEOs of the local flower shop here. Like, we're hating the CEO of a barbaric business, a business that relies on denying care to people to make a profit.
I'll make a comment here with the Conscious Hour. How did we get here? How did we get to where we took the humanity out of services? It's the Brave New World, folk. It's the electronic, I'll call it the electronic intifada. Everything has been electronized. Everything. It's all done by computer or offshore. So the system is rigged at 90% denial rate. Can you imagine that? Where's the federal government? Federal government is supposed to regulate these corporations, but they don't. The federal government, if it was doing its job, would ensure that I'm going to take retirees, that every retiree who's paid into Social Security for their entire life gets the benefits and actually gets treatment when they need it. But that's not happening in America. No. Why? Because we have a business model that's a greed machine. Let's go back to how this whole thing evolved. Back in 1935, there was a game created called Monopoly. And many people in the world have played the game of Monopoly. Basically, it's the game of greed. How much can you accumulate of these dollars? In those days, the dollars were worth something. Actually, they were worth something until, let's say, 1971, when Turkey Dick Nixon took us off the gold standard. But anyways, going back to those dollars, they had value, and we had a system, and the monopoly system was, you want to win everything. You want to win the entire board game. You want to own Boardwalk. You want to own everything. And look at how the world is. It's all about money or credits. We'll call it credits. I like credits better because money has no value and credits has no value either, but it's much easier to explain. So, if a person has so many credits in their system, in their bank system, in their banking account, those credits are so massive that most people would never spend them in their entire lifetime. I'm talking about the wealth of wealthy people, but they keep accumulating it. But they're hooked on this game of how much credits, or money, we'll call it just for a second, how much can I get? How much can I make? The winner takes all. And look around. Look at the cost of cars. People go out and buy a car, an SUV, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 for a car that took them how much to make? Oh my God. You could buy a brand new pickup truck in 1970 for X real cheap. And you can buy a new one for $100,000. What? Yes, people pay $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 for cars. For a car? And you know what's really interesting? We'll talk about greed the machine. They're building them that are much less reliable. I mean, really not reliable at all. Constantly having problems. I can cite citations from all different types of manufacturers, and I won't get into this. This is what I do. I'm an analyst, and I've looked at these problems before. I've looked at the auto care industry. And there's another thing, just going sidetrack for a second here. They produce so many cars that they can't sell them all. You know what they do with them? They park them in big parking lots, and then eventually they ship them around the world. It's called overproduction for making massive profits, overconsumptions to create a stimulus so that you could make more profits. Just think about how much shit you buy. And it's always on sale now. They've got you hooked in the game of consumerism. It's a game of consumerism based on the model of monopoly. We've got to stimulate the economy to make people spend money, and we've got to stimulate the economy so corporations can make massive profits and make profits. Don't care about how many people are denied. Who cares? They're going to die anyways. They denied 90%. 90% denial rate. Imagine that. Let's go back to the conversation here.
There's two classes, right? The class at the top that never really feels the pain of the working class. And that's why the symbolism of this outpouring of support for someone like Luigi is so profound, because he's simply a vessel for the rage, right, of the system. It's the only way that people can really express themselves, because they've been beaten down so much that they're in debt. They've lost people. And that class that dominates the rest of them has never been scared. They've never felt that wrath before, and they've never been terrified running for their lives. And so this exposes the possibility of class warfare. You know, the millionaires who benefit off this private insurance industry, the millionaires who never have to worry about dying from lack of medical coverage or going bankrupt and into debt from lack of medical coverage. Those are the people that will never have to worry about these problems, Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. They're completely insulated. And not only do they will never have to worry about that sort of thing, like any sort of healthcare issues or access to care, whatever. They can't even take people saying mean things about them online. Like, they can't even take people criticizing them. They're so thin-skinned and fragile, and it's just pitiful.
I think what really gets me, I mean, there's so many like hypocritical double standards going on, but I think the thing that really just irks me the most is all the people hand-wringing about how we should think and feel about the assassination of Brian Thompson are the same people who have been manufacturing consent for the mass murder of Palestinians for over a year, Taylor. So like on one hand, like you said, I mean, this country is born and bred on genocide and slavery and war. I mean, and look at what we're doing today is just constant bloodletting warfare. We're the world's largest, most militaristic empire. I mean, signing off for genocide, signing off on apartheid, signing off on just endless war in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because ultimately they don't value those people's lives, right? And we even just saw this with the juxtaposition of how these people are covering Jordan Neely and his death, and, you know, whose deaths are deemed acceptable in society, whether, you know, in America or abroad. And it's ultimately, especially in halls of political power and the media and stuff, it's like, you know, if you are a vulnerable, poor, disabled, or, you know, marginalized person, or you live in somewhere like Palestine, you know, and you're murdered, that's considered an acceptable loss. You know, they don't care. But if you are rich and powerful, oh gosh, you know, then it's like a national scandal.
It's called collateral damage. To maximize your profit. The collateral damage, they don't care about. They don't care if you die early. The earlier you die, the less they're ever going to have to pay off, you know? I mean, just look at the war machine we have. And just look at the deaths that are being caused to the Palestinians. Imagine a city of like Los Angeles being bombed into oblivion. The entire coastline demolished, devoid of buildings, people living in tents, while we back a literal dictator, Netanyahu, and we give him Israel billions of dollars of weapons to kill people. The Western media doesn't even pick up the mass murders. They were blocked. The only way you can really get news about what's actually going on the ground and seeing the actual facts is you have to go to YouTube. Because on YouTube, you can get news feeds from around the world and you can actually see what the U.S. media is violating the FCC clearly. They're spinning the news. They aren't giving you the full information. They're filtering everything out to justify the positions, going back to monopoly, the greed machine. Monopoly on steroids. So the CEO got gunned down. Hey, I don't give a fuck. We kill, murder, rape, pillage countries around the world, and we're supposed to worry about one man who had a system that was supposed to serve the American people because they paid in for insurance their entire life, and 90% of the people get denied their claims. What the hell? Wait a second. Why would an insurance company have to say, well, we aren't going to pay you? Excuse me, you were there to service what the government mandated you to do, which was to make sure that the American public had health care, was getting the best care that they could get, right? That's what the Congress thinks about people. They want the best care we can give our American people. No. They want to look at maximizing profits, and fuck you, the American people. That's how we're living now. And all this stuff that we're seeing happening, the war, is a result of this megalomaniac, sociopathic, homicidal, maniacal, suicidal, genocidal machine of monopoly. And now we have AI. And so we can blame it on AI. No, we can't blame it on AI. You program AI, and AI is real simple. Hey, AI, well, all these people paid into this benefits for their whole life. Should we shortchange them, or should we average out? We only pay 50% out so we can make more profit, or only pay out 40%, we can make more profit, or should we actually give them full benefits? Well, let's see, I'm programming this thing. No, they get full benefits. They paid in, they get full benefits, they get no delays, they get health care. We're all electronic system. We can just change the electronic system so boom, 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 everybody gets what they paid in for. But oh no, what does the government do? Spend the money on wars so corporations can make profit, raise taxes, raise prices of food, raise prices of everything to maximize profits. To maximize profits. Well, there's a prophecy out there that says greed the machine will kill you. It will eliminate your species because of greed. Just look at Netanyahu. He's a perfect example. The guy's a megalomaniac. We're watching it on television, folks. These people are being slaughtered, and we're sitting in our houses, and we're getting ready for Christmas, and we're sickened to death, and we just don't want to look at it. But folks, the American government is screwing, killing, mass murdering people around the world. They've been doing it for a long time, but now it's televised 24/7. And now we know about the healthcare industry. And now we'll go one other little deep dive. Let's go into the military. Our boys, women, and men serve our country with pride, with determination to make the world better. And what do they find when they go to war? They find that the war isn't really what they were told and who these people really were. They were fed propaganda, conditioning, psychological conditioning to believe that these people were terrorists. It's kind of like ISIS. Where'd they come from? Oh, CIA. Where all these terrorist organizations, where do they come from? They came from the formation with the backing of either the CIA or Mossad. It's real simple. So we're going in the conscious hour to do one thing. People know that the government doesn't represent you. That most people don't trust their government. But yet these Beltway bandits, these people elected in Congress, retire with hundreds of millions of dollars in their account. How the hell is somebody sitting on their ass in Congress? Oh, they get to walk to the meetings all day long, feel important, go to all these meetings all day long, write these measures all day long, while what they're really doing is profiteering. I could create an AI system that represents the entire population. It's easy. We simply create a system that says, we're going to do insurance. Good. Everybody that's paid in, they get coverage. Great. The machine, because, you want to cut your costs. You don't need all these people in these skyscrapers. The machine divvies out, says, oh, you've paid in, you get coverage. Oh, you paid in, you get coverage. Oh, you're a service veteran. And you have all these psychological problems and physiological problems because your service and the VA is, I would have to guess, probably 64% as far as a approval rating. I haven't asked that. I have to go back and find out from the vets, but I know it's sometimes even lower than that. I know lots of vets that have gotten basically nothing. What they really do with the vets is they just medicate them. And then they say, here, just take this, and then, so we're going to medicate you, and then we hope you die off because, it's more profitable to have you die off early, then we don't have to spend a whole bunch of money that was paid into by the taxpayer, but these corporations are managing it. Have you had enough? Look at your children. Imagine this. My daughter just bought a new car. It cost $100,000 for an SUV. Yeah. A big one. I haven't seen it. Hope it drives itself, and hope it has a longevity factor of 1,000,000 miles. I'm going to be a little sarcastic. You know why? They don't even build cars that will last 100,000 miles without going into the shop a whole bunch of times. I could take you on a deep dive of the car industry, and we'll do that one time in the Conscious Hour, or I should say one time on the Conscious Hour. We'll look at the automobile industry, the prices of cars, the surplus of cars, and what we do with them. And I won't just focus on U.S. and American cars, but I'll talk to you about foreign cars that have engines that explode, engines that fail, of all different mechanical things, transmissions, all sorts of things happen to cars that have 20,000 miles, 60,000 miles, 70,000 miles, and oh my God, they start coming apart. There's cars out there that go for 500,000 miles without even trying. Except we don't make anything for longevity. Why? Because we are on this machine. We got to keep selling, keep making profits. Look at the profit margin. Oh, we only made this 18.12%. Oh, we made 68%. Oh, we made 72%. Let's keep driving those profits up because the shareholders are going to be happy. They're going to get bigger return on their money. While we do what? Produce a whole bunch of shit that we don't need. Why not have a car or a truck that lasts for 20 years, 30 years? I drive a 1988 Ford F-150. It has 119,000 miles on it. You know what my repair bills on that thing's been? Maybe in all those years when I bought it, I've had it for a long time. I can't imagine I spent more in all those years than $1,000 max on repairs. Transmission's great, engine's great, and now we buy this shit that's always having problems. The manufacturers put out cars and they know they have defects in them because they get the first sale at a jacked up price, high price, and then it has to be serviced. No big deal because they put that extra money in the cost of the car because they knew the piece of shit was going to fall apart, and they would have it, oh, it's on warranty. No problem, we'll warranty it. So we could roll this shit out, inferior products, put a warranty on it, and, if you want the extended one, we'll get you up to 100,000 miles. After that, you're on your own because it'll all come apart. I mean, it's a game. And we need to have a reboot of our system, or we're going to blow each other up and kill each other off. Because the almighty credit you get, can't talk about dollars because they aren't worth shit. They're worth nothing. They haven't been worth anything. They've been up to the gold standard since 1971. The amount of credits you have are irrelevant. What's relevant is quality of life, is respect for everyone in the world. No borders, no barriers, no wars. And respect when it comes to giving the people the rights that they deserve when they pay into a system or they buy a car or a consumer good that doesn't last. We should have a standard that says that anything's fucking made has to, a minimum, make it through 10 years. That's just a base step. 10 years. Why? Then you don't have to have your car serviced all the time, other than just a regular oil change. It's because you can build a quality product and drive the car for years and years and years and they never fall out. I got one car with 270,000 miles on it. I paid $2,400 for the car. It's a Volvo. I bought it at 180,000 miles and I've got 270,000 miles on the thing. Hardly cost me anything. So it's time to shift away from greed to machine and build a world and a society that benefits everyone. And the other deep dive we're going to do is what happened to the Carolinas and the people that are living in tents so the big boys can come in and take all the property because they can't live there anymore, and they can get into the lithium to make batteries while Americans are starving and freezing to death this winter. Merry Christmas, folks. Spend time with your family. Cherish the moments with your family, but then do yourself a favor. Open your mouth. When you see injustices, speak it out. Because the louder our voice is, the faster these little rats will run into their little offices and go, uh-oh, the jig's up. We better start giving them more. So they'll kind of trickle out and make a little course correction. No, we need a non-spineless government that comes in and says, look, you paid into your benefits, you get your full benefits. Nobody can jerk you off. You need full coverage for this. You got it. You paid in all your life. We give our veterans the best health care in the world. We don't shove them out and medicate them. We take the American public, and when they've got a problem and they've paid in, they go to the hospital. They don't have a hefty bill. There's no overcharges, and this has been denied and this has been denied. Bullshit. You pay for insurance, you get full coverage. Oh no, your leg's not worth it, cut it off. Oh no, your arm's not worth it, cut it off. Oh, you're too sick, here, take these meds. Oh, there's side effects on the meds. Maybe it'll kill you early so we can benefit all those profits, make maximum profits because you died off. We don't have to keep paying out. Fuck. What have we become? It's the Conscious Hour. Wake up, folks. Get active. Pick up the phone, call your congressional members and say, excuse me, you're disgusting. Represent our needs, our interests. Serve the people. We, the people. Bureaucrats.